We're live.
Hello and welcome to the Scandal Nerdcast, episode 24. I'm wearing weird glasses, and my name is Kurt, and I'm going to throw it over that way. Hey, how you doing over there?
Nightson, I am wearing regular glasses because apparently I didn't get the memo that we were doing something fun. I'm not allowed to do fun. It is court mandated, so I will pass it over to the next.
Oh, is that what that 500-yard restriction is? It's
Yeah,
from fun?
basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm next, right, according to this paper. Yeah. So, hi, it's me. These are also glasses.
Prescription.
Very weird frame, but I have eccentric tastes.
Did your coverage? Did your healthcare cover that?
Yeah, surprisingly, they cover a lot of good stuff. Like, I go into the office and they're like, "Hey, you need glasses?" And I was like, "Cool, can you put frames in this mask?" And they were like, "No probs." And I was like, "Can I also have some Vicodin?" And they were like, "Sure."
That's some really good insurance.
Yeah, that's some solid insurance, I gotta say.
I'm Gigett, and I am wearing real glasses and then pretend squishy goggles.
Are those sewn onto the hat, or can you pull them down?
No, they're not even like sewn onto the hat. Like they are the hat. Like they're not. Okay. There's no space. They are. And I have ears. Anyway, hi, Gigett.
Hey, I'm end of line, and I too am wearing just normal glasses. Sorry.
And your camera's turned off.
I did not get the memo.
No, it's only turned off to us. They can see him.
Yeah, the internet can see it.
But I can't.
Hello, internet.
Hello, internet.
Just pretend that I have a goofy mask on.
Yeah.
Well, internet. Thanks for joining us today, and I want to say for
this special morning edition.
Yeah, this special early morning edition where we're all having coffee instead of beer, which is different.
It's a lot less fun.
It's way worse.
It's a little less fun. But we're still going to have a good time today, and I want you to know that if you want to know more about this show, you can find all sorts of cool information about this show if you go to pixelscandal.com. Also, you can email this show if you want to contact us and tell us how bad we are, or how good we are, or just tell us about you. How are you? You can email pixelscandal@gmail.com. We want to know how you're doing. You can also hit us up on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or any of those things at pixelscandal. If you can't find us on the social media of your choice, then email that email and tell us that we're not on, I don't know, MeWe or whatever it is that you want to be on.
We are on MeWe.
But yeah, we are
on MeWe.
Yeah, we're there.
You don't have a MySpace page.
But we don't talk about it.
We do not have a MySpace page.
We don't talk about it. We do not have a MySpace page.
And
so
we will not.
Yeah, if you absolutely require a MySpace page, then...
Oh, I'm so tempted to go make one now.
Maybe sub to the channel and we'll think about it.
And our spotlight topic later on in the show is going to be scary, spoopy video games. That's going to be our topic later on.
You cut me off before I talked about the podcasts.
You were rambling.
You can watch our podcast on all your favorite Pod Turkey apps.
We were afraid you were going to say podcatcher.
Yeah, I was just trying to catch you off before you said podcatcher.
Oh, okay. Well.
Oh, podcatcher? I thought it was Pod Turkey. My bad.
No, podcatcher of choice.
Welcome back, Kurt, from your one and only missed episode.
Thank you. This was, last week was the first episode I've ever missed. It's good to be back.
Yeah. We went on without you, and we were fantastic.
I know.
We were fantastic.
I'm just going to say, we got, in the past week, more viewer growth than any other week, and so far the only thing has been that Kurt wasn't on the podcast. So if we don't get at least...
That is true.
If we don't get at least 10 new followers this week, then we're going to have to start trimming the
fat, guys.
I don't know that that's fair, seeing as how we did do a special episode with just me this week.
That is also true.
So there's that.
Would you like to plug that for people who maybe missed the Tuesday night go live and want to go back and watch that?
Sure. So if you are one of our regular viewers and you did not see the poorly announced special episode Big Bad Con recap of the Pixel Scandal Nerdcast, that was right before this one. It'll appear in all of the feeds and on our website and things like that if you want to go find it. Find it on YouTube and all sorts of stuff. But myself, and several amazing guests. We had Dave Kazay. If you're familiar with our LA Con, or just if you have been to a gaming convention, you probably know Tomes. and we
Any
had-
gaming convention.
No, literally any. He's at
Yeah, if
another
you-
one this weekend. So literally any convention ever, then you've met Tomes.
Yeah, if you've been to an indie gaming convention, you've met Tomes.
Is
He's
that
sort
that
of
NitroCon
famous there.
thing?
No, he's at PineCon,
He's at PineCon right now.
which is like camp for role playing.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's roleplay camp.
Is it anything like Bandcamp? Because that wouldn't be hot at all. Never
No.
mind.
No, it's not like
No.
it's not like band
But
camp.
Kurt did have some really awesome guests. We decided to do a special recap episode so that y'all didn't have to sit here and listen to Kurt just talk by himself for a whole recap while we all shook our heads and while he talked about it. So
Blah blah blah. Drunk. Blah blah blah. Drunk dialing. Blah blah blah. Tabletop games.
yeah, that's the whole recap. That's the whole recap.
Love you.
No, and so we did do a special episode where we did have some really awesome guests on who were able to actually talk about the games and the feel of the con and
Not jealous.
have multiple people be able to talk about their experience and what it was like at that con. So
I'm not jealous at all.
All right, so yeah, but we did have some interesting structured conversation at the top of the episode before we got too rambly and over the top. So that first hour is real solid, and then if you actually want to hear about our games, you can listen to the next hour and a half because we went 2.5 hours in that episode.
yes.
Yeah,
It
so
is
good
also
times.
out as a podcast,
Yeah.
special edition podcast. So if you want to just spend 2.5 hours listening to Kurt and some people ramble on about really cool touchy-feely games, then yeah, it's a good listen.
Just load up your
Zach.
pug turkey.
And end of line, what is going on with your voice?
I don't
Is it
know.
just me that's
Well,
hearing that?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely getting a killer from inside the house.
Yeah.
vibe.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on?
It's not as weird as when the thing happened to Handor's mic, but it's definitely on that line of
Yeah. Your voice got real deep.
real
Can you
deep.
can you say Gary a few times?
Gary. Gary. Is it better?
Cool.
No.
We're
But
just
you
gonna
crushed it on the Gary
we're
thing.
just gonna roll with it. So let's hear some more of that sexy voice of yours, Endeline. What are our announcements?
I don't know what this sounds like. I'm worried.
it's got the Buffalo Bill thing going on.
Yeah.
It's exactly what happened to
It's
Handor that one
100%
time.
Buffalo Bill.
So now I've got to
Okay.
go and turn the audio on the stream because I want to.
It's great.
I don't know if it's just us or if it's coming through the stream, but man, it's great.
I muted it, unmuted it. I don't know what's going
Oh
on.
god, that's even better.
So much worse.
Someone else do the announcements while I figure this out.
Okay, so our announcements. So tomorrow night is our regular Sunday game night. We're going to be playing Friday the 13th again. We're going to play at 4:30 tomorrow night. So if you want to come watch us kill campers. Yeah, you guys did that last week, right? How did that go?
It was horrific. I am single-handedly amazed for a game that was kind of on its last legs. There's always that, they get their initial funding, they put the game out. And so a game that was not really making any more money, to add a mode that, had all these objectives and whatnot. And then furthermore, to add custom killing animations, like probably 5 or 6 per challenge mode.
So brutal, too.
It's baffling to me. Like,
so brutal.
that just sounds like a waste of money and development resources. But
Yeah.
hey, they did it, so let's enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, we're going to do that again tomorrow night. And then our next our next actual play is going to be on November 10th at 9 a.m. We're going to be continuing with Dungeon World, kind of picking up where we left off with our guest star with Bufo, the frog, or the toad person. Was he a toad or a frog? I don't want to get it wrong because the other half were the ones that murdered everyone. So
I'm pretty sure he was a toad folk, but I would have to go and open my.
and
No,
yeah,
he's
and
a
the
toad.
frogs are the bad guys.
Yes,
Yeah,
the frog
yeah.
folk.
Some people take time to actually learn about the people they're traveling with.
You know, it's been over a month since we played that game. I don't remember
He's
it.
a
It's
knight?
been about a month since I've seen you guys, so
I haven't
yet
forgotten your
still-
name.
Yeah, I
I'm
still
Gigett.
He was a knight.
I
He
think
wielded
that's
a
the one I need
giant
to make a new
Mazmune.
character for.
Yeah, I was
Yes,
gonna
it is.
say,
Yes.
are you gonna be in on that?
Yeah, I couldn't play the last one because my back was broken. But
Yes.
yeah, I should be.
So
in this.
that will be our next actual play on November 10th at 9 a.m.
We need to make a note then that we gotta have to rebuild some overlays if we're gonna add another body.
I will take care of that. We can
Yes.
discuss that off stream.
Yes. So what is everybody excited about? We kind of talked about our Big Bad Con recap episode.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited about the Big Bad Con recap episode. That was good. Go watch it.
Yeah.
I started watching it, so you might have one additional partial view on the YouTube counter, and then I was like, I don't know who any of these people are,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
then
it
I
was
fell asleep.
It was a bunch of Big Bad Con folks.
I knew Tomes and Dave. I do not know the other people, but I'm sure I will meet them eventually.
Yeah.
At a con
I
someday.
really want to go back to Gateway at some point because that was a lot of fun last time I went.
Gateway is a great con. And honestly, if you're not going to watch if you like conventions, but you're not going to watch that con recap and hear us gush about Big Bad Con, which I mean I totally understand. Big Bad Con is a great con, and if you're into indie RPGs or you like the effort being made to make a space more inclusive or more welcoming to marginalized groups, then Big Bad Con is your primo
I'm out.
place for that.
Yeah.
don't
I
know
like
if
my
I'll fit
cons
in
with segregation.
at that type of place. I
You
don't.
would definitely fit in. Everyone fits in.
Why are you calling me marginalized?
No?
No, it does sound like it's a really great environment for role playing with a lot of really cool supportive people, and I'm super bummed out that I didn't go with you, and I'm definitely gonna have to go next year.
Oh,
Yeah,
we should totally all go next year, and then we could all be inclusive in our own table, where we all just fill it up.
Oh,
Be like, we'd like to welcome.
just so you know, we can see your settings there.
Sign up.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can
We
hear
can
you.
hear
You
you.
sound fine.
Yay, you sound
Yeah.
fine
You're
again.
no longer asking us to put the lotion in a basket.
That's good because I already applied lotion this morning, and I don't want to overhydrate.
That's true. You don't want to be sticky.
You don't want to
Yeah.
over moisturize.
No, I
Well,
don't.
something I'm excited about is the new Adventure Edition of Savage Worlds. The Kickstarter went live this last week, which I totes backed for us as a group, and I'm linking it there in the chat for you guys, and we'll definitely put it in the show notes. But go back it. It's got some really cool stuff. It's the new edition of Savage Worlds. There's a lot of really neat like add-ons and stuff that they've already
Is that the
So is it a
edition that-
new like is I couldn't understand what it was because it looked like it was just like an updated Savage Wars, or is this like a whole new setting with new rule sets and everything?
so yes and no. It is a whole new edition of Savage Worlds, just like the deluxe edition was a new, like they had updated some rules and changed some things. So it's going to be the same Savage Worlds we know and love, but it's also going to have, like, charisma's not a thing anymore. They're getting rid of that. They're baking it into the actual edges that deal with being social. So instead of having a stat for that, it's going to be part of your edge.
It was broken.
Yeah,
It was,
yeah, it's a
so
little out of
they're
control.
fixing that. There's some combat stuff that they're updating. They're kind of going through and streamlining a lot of the rules and updating things, which is great. It also, they're coming out with a bunch of new, like, campaigns and setting stuff, and a lot of that comes with the Kickstarter. We backed it at kind of the biggest
The signed collector's edition leather bound book version that I'm looking at right now, that I was like, oh yeah, they got this one.
in the fancy box with the deck of cards and the status deck and the tokens, and I may have gone a little buck wild with
Learned a little bit.
we play a shit ton of Savage Worlds.
I know we
But that's-
do, and I was just gonna say, like, is it too late to get your money back? Because I'm so tired of Savage Worlds.
Well, in fairness, I think one of the things I like about this new edition is the additions. Like, it was 2 or 3 new status effects
Mhm.
that add
Vulnerable
some
and-
add some flavor to a lot of those spells that felt the exact same.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, there are so many spells in that game for a game that is about
Yeah, I feel that.
add the flavor, add some flavor to a spell, and that's what makes it unique. You had 4 or 5 of these slightly inconveniences or disables a target spells that are basically the exact same.
Well, that's exactly why Kurt redid all my spells on my caster.
He
Because they
redid all of our spells.
Yeah.
I rewrote everyone's spells.
But it made them more
because-
interesting because they were bland as shit. Like they all felt like almost the same thing. And the trappings help a little bit, but it's not enough.
I think what I did is what they expected people to do.
Yeah.
Is to go through and sort of write over the top, like this is what the spell actually is, and then here's this mechanical effect that's not super important.
I feel like
But-
it wouldn't be that hard to write a game when you're expecting your GMs to basically flesh out all the rules for you.
Well, the thing is, I mean, if you get into some of the setting books, they have expanded spells, right? The
Right.
spells are fleshed out like
Right.
that.
Well, so this
So-
new version, how backwards compatible is it with the 800 source books that are already out there?
It's actually really compatible, and part of the extra stuff that they're doing that you get with the Kickstarter is some backwards compatible like transition stuff. So it helps you kind of figure out like, okay, I want to run Slipstream that was released in the early 2000s, but all the rules from that still has like guts and charisma and all the things that they're kind of taking out. So they're actually going to put out some stuff that helps you kind of figure out how to backwards compatible the new rules to the old stuff.
They always release a free conversion guide, which will say like this turns into this, and if you see this, use this.
So is there like new edges and hindrances and all that stuff?
I don't know.
I don't know, but Shane Hensley has been really active in sending updates and emails as part of the Kickstarter campaign, talking about all the different things that they're going to give you and the information and different like actual plays to go watch that are beta testing the rules so you can kind of see it. And so it's, there's a lot out there to kind of see what Savage Worlds is going to look like starting in like June of 2019.
Oh
So
my lord.
Is there
a ways off.
anything? Is there anything to do when you get to over 100 XP?
So that's another thing that they're putting out. They're putting out like a high level guide that's like, oh, this
Just
is
stop playing. That's the guide. It's just one sentence.
well,
Well,
and
they
not
may have made some changes.
well, yeah, and not just like what to do as players, but more importantly, what to do as a GM when you have players that are over legendary. How do you still make it interesting? How do you still add flavor to, to the game and not make them feel like they have superpowers?
One of my favorite splat books that I've ever purchased was the old D&D second edition high level campaign. And it is literally just a book of powers and like about a third of it's powers and abilities to give to your high level players.
Right.
The rest is how do you run a high level campaign that
Right.
for people who can literally blow up mountains.
Right.
Well,
And
it
that's
was like the, it was
that's
like
what
the
they're putting
D&D
out with this Kickstarter, which is great.
So if it
D&D 3.0, 3.5 book, the Epic Level Handbook, where it's just like this is everything that happens when you get to 20 plus.
Yeah.
so
And
if
it
they could do
sounds-
something like that, it'd be awesome.
A 3.5,
it
the GM was
sounds like-
hosed. You just
Sorry.
hosed.
Sorry. But yeah, it sounds like that's what they're trying to do is that's been a big complaint from players is that once you hit that legendary mark, like it does start to drop off where you're like, there's nothing for me to do or take, or I'm too
Yeah.
overpowered or whatever. And
Mhm.
so they are coming out with
Yeah.
what to
Well,
do
it's
next.
just like the last level, the last game of What's in the Box. Is like everybody's got 160, 170 XP. We haven't leveled in like the last 30 or 40 XP after the game. Kurt's just like, F it, have 20 XP. What are you gonna do with it?
Yeah.
It's just gonna pile up. It's just gonna
Yeah.
pile up with the rest of your unspent XP. It's like there's
Hey, I
nothing in
spend
this
mine.
book. On what?
Yeah, that was the funny part at the end of that last game. Everyone was like, "Are we getting a ton of XP?" And I was like, "Fuck it, hit 20. I don't care."
Yeah. So
Have
I'm like,
20 XP.
yeah, I'm at 179 XP.
I
Last
haven't
time I
spelt one since 120.
Yeah, last time I
110.
spent anything on my sheet here, 120. So I've got like 50 XP worth of stuff, and it's just like, how much can I use to get an arcane background at this point?
yeah.
We should be able to trade in our XPs for bennies and then give them all to Nightson so he can hoard them.
Because he won't spend them.
Yeah.
Just have like a mountain of 100 bennies at the table.
So kind of moving along here. So who's excited about BlizzCon or has information about BlizzCon?
Um, how? Not super excited for BlizzCon because I mean I don't really play any Blizzard games anymore. But one of our friends was talking about how he's getting the virtual ticket because he was super interested in getting some information about Diablo. And there's been like some rumors going around and stuff saying how they're probably not going to be announcing Diablo 4 at the
Mm,
upcoming BlizzCon, but
mm-hmm.
there is going to be some sort of announcement. So there's like all kinds of speculation as to what that could be.
There was a Twitter from some like community manager, I don't remember who,
Mhm.
but basically was saying something along the lines of, "We have lots of Diablo projects in the works.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them are ready to be talked about. So
Mm.
there's something getting announced,
Yeah.
but I gotta. It definitely feels like it ain't Diablo 4.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
like there's a bunch of like some of the stuff people are talking about is like the last time there was an announcement for Diablo 3, it came from the Classic Games division. So now they're saying, okay, Classic Games is in charge of Diablo 3. What is the actual Diablo team working on? That's
Mm.
probably Diablo 4.
Right.
Well, I think it goes without saying they're
Yeah.
working on Diablo 4,
Yeah.
no question.
Yeah, but I don't know. It could be another expansion because I mean Diablo usually runs what 2 expansions per.
No, they've only ever had one expansion.
Well,
Every
Diablo
single
2
Diablo
had.
has. Nope.
Okay, then yeah, they should be up. They should be done with
Yeah.
Diablo 3.
Diablo 1 had one expansion. Diablo 2 had one expansion. Diablo 3 has one expansion. It could technically have the
That
second.
I guess Hellfire didn't really count because it wasn't a Blizzard product, right? Yeah. So
Hmm.
yeah,
They
so
are
Diablo,
definitely not expanding Diablo 3 anymore. They have
Yeah.
given up on that game a long time ago.
Okay. Well, cool. So we will see what happens, what comes out of BlizzCon.
Yeah. And I just want to say, yes, Monkey Fun in the Dave in the chat. I would like to promote my new fictional album, Box of Sake, that Alessandro's Obsession is putting out.
do they actually sell boxed sake in Japan? I don't know if that's a thing.
No,
That would
well, if you want to know about boxes of sake, you can go watch our Big Bad Con recap episode. Find out all about boxes of sake.
Do you guys
and how
remember
you
when
need
I
one more
told
box
you
of sake.
that Kurt and Dave called me drunk? That would be them having boxes of sake.
I want to point out that Dave called you. So I was drunk enough that Dave said, "Give me your phone." I unlocked it and handed it to him.
And then I proceeded to get a phone call from Monkey Fun Dave, and
Which unfortunately, someone did not have the wherewithal to record.
I know, man. I really wish
We were so going to play that back on stream.
They were so excited. They're like, "Oh, please tell me you recorded them." And I'm like, "I did not. I'm very sorry."
Nope.
Mistakes were
made. Oreztes, how's that Discord beta going?
Why?
So my Discord crashed, and then I opened it back up, and there was a pop-up that said, "Hey, congratulations! You've been randomly selected to participate in the Discord store beta." And I clicked on it, and it was like, "Would you like to buy some old games at full price?" And I was like, "No."
Why is this a thing?
And then I closed it, and that was my experience with it so far.
There you go.
So,
guys, there's a thing now.
It just baffles.
It's a really
me,
great
like,
review. That was a great review of the beta.
Like, I have my Steam, and for all of those people who don't care for Steam for whatever reason, there's Good Old Games, or those kind of options that do the same thing but don't have the DRM
integration.
The DRM of having to have a client installed.
Mm-hmm.
But why would I? Like, I could appreciate why I would want to have all my games associated with, like, probably one of the premier chatting programs out there right now. Everyone, hell, a lot of companies have gotten away from having a forum on their site or using Twitter to communicate. They use a Discord.
Yep.
Right.
And so I could appreciate why you would want that, but I would much rather them get bought out by Valve and merge the two so that Steam has a solid chatting program, which they're kind of building towards themselves anyways with some of the newest things.
Mhm.
But in the same note, I'm probably not going to go to Steam for my chatting. I have Discord.
Right.
So unless
Yeah,
you
well-
became
Yeah, go ahead.
no, so unless you literally merge the two, then I'm probably not going to participate. Like I don't need another thing, like another Steam. Like I already have the Twitch app, which I literally just have downloaded because I play WoW occasionally,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's not inconvenient to be hosting games on there that I get for free for Twitch Prime.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like Twitch has a client also now where you can get games through there.
Yep.
So if Amazon bought Twitch, Amazon should just buy Discord and then integrate those two together.
Sure.
And then
Let's do
Amazon and then Amazon could buy Valve and put Steam and then everything's just in one and then it's fine.
Or they can just stop being fucking assholes and just let me download my goddamn game and play it without having to have some fucking bullshit launcher.
Wait, which one are you talking about now?
All of them. Ubisoft. Like, all of them. Just
Yeah,
stop.
like yeah, what is it? What is Ubisoft's Uplay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Origin.
Yeah, Epic,
Or-
the Epic launcher for Fortnite.
Here's the thing. If someone plays a lot of Ubisoft games, allow them to get the launcher and manage all their games in it. I don't care. But don't make me. I don't want your freaking app running in my sys tray in the background. I got to go and stop it from automatically starting on my computer, or it's eating up resources for no reason because I'm
You
not
know
playing
what?
your game. And
You know what we should do is come out with the Pixel Scandal Hub and just make it to
Oh,
where it
no.
like integrates Discord chats and then it just pulls all of your launchers and just loads the games by emulating these launchers and then you just
That's a
have
good
all of your
question.
stuff in
I
one.
wonder if you could make a meta launcher, a launcher of launchers.
Maybe.
A launcher of launchers.
Yeah, you could like hook it
Launcher
up.
of launchers.
You just hook it up to like
Launcher
your
Inception.
you hook it up to your BlizzCon, you hook it up to your Blizzard, your Steam, your Epic, your Twitch, your brand new Discord launcher
Discord,
thingy. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like how they used to have that Trillion app that would let you hook up like your
Yeah.
AIM and your ICQ and your IRC and all that crap and just have like one giant chat window. Just make it like that. Like we'll have a launcher,
That'd be
doesn't
so
do
convenient.
anything but launch every game.
It just launches your other launchers.
It just launches
Yeah.
my launcher.
It's
But
a launcher.
But those like single studio apps are just a second uninstall when I'm done playing your game. It's just
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, moving right along here, Endo, I see there's a Dead by Daylight update here.
yeah, they're doing I mean, most games, games love doing their Halloween events. Dead by Daylight's no different. They're doing a Hallowed Blight event, which is it's kind of interesting. But you can play Dead by Daylight and get some currency to buy some costumes for your survivors or your killers. I would
Right.
suggest if there's any games that you enjoy and maybe you're not playing them right now or haven't been, but you feel like you're gonna go back to them. I like to install them and hop on and see what's going on for Halloween or like Christmas events and things like that. So I'm sure that you can check that out. But Dead by Daylight's doing something
Cool.
too.
So I will say on the event, one interesting thing for those of you who actually play it is the event for survivors is you have additional objectives. You're running around the map and you are milking flowers, for lack of a better term.
Yeah,
Do
You're
flowers
collect-
have nipples?
you're collecting pustules.
Ow.
Yeah,
I have nipples. Could you milk me?
Yeah. Yeah. Do
No.
flowers have nipples?
You have non-functional nipples, guys. Sorry.
Hey, mine are fully functional.
and so on the survivor side, that's how you get your rewards. You are milking flowers, and you get your rewards for doing that. And I've played a couple games as killer since then, and I really like the pacing of the game when this is in play because it slows the game down because it gives the survivors another objective. The games inherently last longer. You don't feel the need to
It's
run
a
those.
free ruin.
It's
Yeah.
ruin without frustrating people.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
And you
Is there
can't
like a-
break it because
Is
everyone
there like
wants the
an
pustules.
unspoken community rule that killers just don't use ruin during this event because
no.
it would just be a huge pain in the butt?
I would use ruin. Because the thing is, the killer on the opposite end wants to get as many hooks as possible.
No, they don't. They only want to get specific hooks.
Oh, that's right. They want to get the tailored hooks for the
And you-
Blight event.
Yeah, you can only hook those hooks once. So, truth be told, you get those hooks, you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna run around and kill you now.
Wait,
But
so you can only get specific hooks in a game? Like just there's there's a
credit for
limited
the
amount of
event.
hooks you can get in a game, but you want to get like 120 hooks or something. You were saying?
It's so I played 2 games last night, and I was able to get 1 vial of the 30 that you can get through the event.
Mm.
It's gonna be it's something like 100 hooks
Mm.
of specific hooks, even like. So if survivors are not cooperating, which why would they cooperate?
Mhm.
You might not even get all your hooks in a given game.
Only when
Okay.
you're cheating.
So there's a specific hook on the map that you have to put somebody on,
Yes,
right? Is there any way for the survivors to know what hook that is and break it?
it cannot
Oh.
be broken. So
Okay.
that's the first thing.
They do know
which-
which one they are, though.
So it's actually kind of fun because, well, the hook actually is like covered in flowers and tentacles and whatnot. So it's very
Okay.
clear. This is where if I want to screw the hook killer, I'd be nowhere near these hooks.
Right.
But as a side effect of you cannot sabotage it,
Mm-hmm.
It
It's
doesn't
surrounded by
break.
generators.
it doesn't break when someone dies on it. It's become my
Oh.
favorite hook. I have hooked people on it so many times.
Nice. Well, cool. All right, so I think we're all excited about this one. Who wants to talk about tonight?
Big
Final
Scandal
Fantasy?
Halloween 2018 night.
Woohoo! We're all getting together tonight, and we're gonna watch the original, and we're gonna go see the new one, which I'm sure we will talk about on our next cast. I'm very excited. I know End of Line is. We talked about that
Yep.
last week.
Very.
But that
Very
is why-
excited.
That is why we are here at 9 in the morning.
That is why we're
Yes.
here at 9 in the morning.
Because
And not
we're
noon.
not at 9 in the morning.
If we're
Well, I got other shit to do today. Our options are 9 a.m. or 8 p.m. That's it.
Those are the
Well,
only valuable podcast times.
8
All
p.m.
other times.
is no
That's
longer an
the only
option.
viable podcast times.
fair enough.
Well, Kurt, tell us about Codex Prime real quick.
Oh, sure.
Codex,
So
Not Prime,
I
but
just
Codex.
I just went and checked the Codex Kickstarter. So if you're a fan of Dungeon World or little indie games or like micro games and things like that, the Gauntlet is putting on a Kickstarter for Volume 1 of the Codex, which is like a hardback book with a bunch of with all the issues of Codex, which is their zine that they put out with a lot of like neat little gaming materials and Dungeon World content, and also just like little mini games and things like that that people have written. And so this is like a pretty cool book. There's a bunch of I think there's still some $35. Yeah, there's 191 left of the $35 version. So it's $35 for this hardback book with a bunch of cool stuff in it. And there's 8 days to go from today is the 20th. So yeah, so go check it out. I'll put the link in the chat and in the show notes.
Awesome. So we kind of covered what we played recently. You guys played Friday the 13th last weekend is our game night. We're going to do that again tomorrow. So super excited for that. Kurt, you ran a game last night for GauntletCon, and you're going to run another game tomorrow.
Yep.
How did that go yesterday?
So I ran Nuclear Night School, which is my 1980s with magic setting, Savage World setting. The game went pretty well. I normally tend to run sort of like linear stories where it's like here's a inciting incident, here's a few middle scenes, and then here's a conclusion. This one was a little bit different. I wanted to sort of basically we started and ended the game at a party. So very like 80s movie party antics are happening with a little fantastical magic stuff on top, and the players, like, we opened with vignettes of them getting to the party, and we closed with the party winding down.
Cool.
I had some things sort of planned, like some plot type stuff that could happen, but I honestly got distracted watching the players RP and enjoy their scenes and forgot to advance the story. And so it had some pacing issues.
Well, guess what? You get to do it all over again tomorrow.
But I get to do it again. So I actually, at the end of that game, I thanked them for playtesting for me, so I could the next group would benefit from their sacrifice. But I think the players had a good time. And one of them, Jason Mills, said, if you if you lose track of time in a game, it's usually because everyone's having fun.
Yeah.
So Jason was in your game?
Yeah,
Jason's
Jason
cool.
played-
I like that dude a lot. That's the dude what made Demigods, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, that
He
guy's
is
awesome.
author of Demigods.
Yeah, if you're interested in modern like demigod type stories like American Gods and Iron Druid and those kind of stories, then you're gonna want to check out Demigods.
It's a PBTA.
It
yeah.
is currently
I really
being
want to play
play tested.
Demigods.
We've played it a few times, and it's super solid. It's really fun.
Yeah.
I can't wait for it to come out. I might actually run a PBTA game, even though I don't.
Oh,
Yep,
you should do it.
him's good people.
You should do it. Yeah, he seems like a really cool guy.
He is a cool guy.
Yeah.
So cool. I see you guys played some more Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, we did. I love that game. That's my
Tell
favorite
everybody
MMO.
how you didn't get yourselves banned this week.
Well, not on stream. That's fishing for. That's fishing for punishment.
Well, I'm glad you guys are having such a good time trolling people in Final Fantasy.
It wasn't trolling. We were helping.
Really. We
We
were
were
helping.
providing a service.
Yeah,
You guys are
like
so
honestly,
helpful.
we should be selling that service.
We
on the
were helping
Party
people
Finder.
without their consent to help them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't know that they needed our help until we helped them, and they were like, "Okay, awesome, thank you.
Thanks for the help, man.
Thanks for the help, guys."
Yeah.
No, so there's that, and then they're doing their Halloween event also, and it's not super involved or anything. It's just a quick little
Super
quest.
spooky.
Yeah, it's just a quick little quest. The whole thing, start to finish, takes maybe an hour. You get a couple little ghost pets and some decorations for our house, which we have one now, and it's awesome.
Nice.
That's pretty standard fare for most MMOs. The
Well,
holiday
This-
content usually is
yeah.
sub 2 hours.
yeah,
Yeah.
but the problem is the rewards for this one are not really up to snuff. Like all you get is a couple of pets and a couple of housing decorations.
I
But in
thought
the
the
past-
decorations were really cute though.
yeah, they're okay, but a lot of people don't have houses, so if you don't have
Sure.
a house, it's completely worthless.
Yeah.
And in the past, they've had costumes and mounts for Halloween. Like one of the previous ones a couple years ago was a broomstick that you could ride around and fly on, and it's like that's friggin' cool. And
Ooh.
Final Fantasy is like the only game where they switch the rewards every year. So whatever
Mm.
happened in the past, you can't get again because it's like new stuff.
I suspect
Right.
they are really, really, really busy with the expansion content.
I hope so because that is more important to me. Because I really need them to introduce Blue Mage, so Nightson will never unsub from that game, and I will always have a tank to queue with.
Nice. Well, cool. Let's move into our spotlight topic here for the last 20 minutes of the show, and talk about. We had a lot to talk about today, and we're gonna be talking about scary and spooky video games. So who wants to jump on and kind of lead this talk?
So, spooky games kind of are an interesting thing. They tend to take everything that we know about conventional games, about the empowerment, about the solid controls, making it a fun experience, and throw all that out the window and just make your life miserable. And that is from the jump what they're designed for.
Right.
They are about disempowerment, about making you feel helpless, and unlike in other forms of media, where it is like a movie where you are just a viewer, or even a tabletop game where, for lack of a better term, it can be you never fully get immersed. In a video game sense, when you are in the situation where you are running for your life, it is you are controlling it. You are the one who is ultimately going to get mauled by a bear
Yeah.
or zombie or crazed person with a chainsaw.
So what do you guys think like helps create that environment in a spooky video game? Like what elements need to be there for it to actually feel somewhat spooky or scary?
Setting, for sure. Music. I think music has an enormous role that I think people don't kind of catch on to. And I think it's kind of a good thing. It's not something you should be cognitive of. Like, it should just be something in the background that's kind of plays as a character.
I think
But
Dead by Daylight
setting-
does that. Like it's the way it does the different sounds in the game really helps build the tension of that game.
Yeah, when you hear a
the
chainsaw in
proximity
that
sounds
game,
and
it's
stuff.
really loud. It's really jarring.
Yeah.
And as many times as you've heard that chainsaw, when you hear a Billy chasing across the map, you're inherently really, really nervous.
You're like, where is he?
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be spooky music. Like It just needs to be thought out.
Yeah.
Because cheerful, happy music in a otherwise spooky setting is even more unnerving. For those of you who've played Secret World, when you start doing, I think it was like chapter 6 when you get into the
amusement park.
The carnival.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about when you go to rescue Emma, or you're going and following the footsteps of Emma through the
college or whatever.
the lab. And it's a place that they were basically testing on children. And you're going through, and all the music is like
okay.
Yeah, and the music is not creepy. It's just music, but it's a very dark and spooky place.
It's like spooky nursery rhyme music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
you get in the room with all the stuffed animals.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they have all the little testing rooms that look like actual like playrooms with like two-way mirrors and stuff.
Oh.
And music, I think music does play a big part in it. Just yesterday, I was watching a YouTube video from this guy named Stevie T, or Steve Terberry, and he was going on about how you can take a lot of these classic horror movie themes, like the Michael Myers, the Halloween theme, the theme from Psycho, all these. If you play the same song in a major scale, it completely changes like the tone of the song. It makes them from like creepy and spoopy to like happy songs. And like the Halloween one was amazing. Like he played the original, and I was like, "Yep, that's Michael Myers." And then he played it in a major scale, and I was like, "This is hilarious. this is a happy song."
They're like it's like circus music.
Yeah,
most horror music sounds like a circus tune in a major scale.
Yeah, let me find it, and I'll link it in the chat, because it was a really interesting video. I was watching it, and I was like, "Yeah, he's absolutely right." Like music.
But beyond music, you have the classics. Setting up a setting that draws on like humankind's innate fears, darkness, solitude,
silence.
Silence are huge driving factors. You look at games like Dead Space, where it's dark, you're alone. There's no sound at all, and it's creepy as hell. Yeah. Hell, even like if anyone remembers the old like Doom 3 was scary as hell for a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
It was a horrifying game because of how dark and alone.
And light was a resource.
Yeah.
It's kind of like playing 16 Candles.
Yeah. Like your light, it was pitch black in a lot of areas, and you had a battery, and so like you had to be very careful.
Well, I mean that's kind of like, I think a game is more scary when it's played as a first-person game and you have like a limited field of view than if you're playing it as like a third-person watching your character walk around, because that limited view of what you can see in your environment makes it more scary, because you can't see what's coming up behind you. You can't see a huge range of view. You can only see what's in that view box, and that makes it more scary because you're constantly trying to like, how do I look around myself?
Yeah, the fun of first person also allows almost little gags where I think it was Condemned or one of those more recent ones that had a "Don't turn around" sign.
And you're like, do I look around?
One of the most thematic, I'm gonna call it a horror game. I feel like it was definitely a horror game. I think the first and the second one were, but Resident Evil, I think, filled that space big time, and the second one especially, which is getting a remake on January, I think 25th or so of next year, which I am crazy excited for. I love that game. But it had everything. It had the jump scares. It had the ambiance, the setting, the music, the sound effects. They had moments of silence where you're like, oh man. They had the calming music where you thought everything was fine, but you're not fine.
They have the horrible controls that make it hard to escape.
Well, that's the thing. The horrible controls were designed choice. They were intentional. Like those tank controls were designed to make it hard to get away, hard to aim, hard to shoot, which inherently makes it less actiony and more, oh my dear God, please let me kill this thing before it eats me.
The lack of ammunition.
And that's
I-
why I think 3 I would still consider a horror game. It wasn't until 4 where they made the switch to let's change the controls up. Let's make it more actiony. That it stopped being a horror
Well,
game.
3
because-
was a lot more actiony than 2 was.
Yeah.
I think that's where they kind of started getting away from the, just horror game part of it. Because 3 was a lot more gunplay and, running around shooting
It was
stuff.
definitely a lot more. The thing about 2 and 1 is once you cleared a space, you were safe in a space. With 3, you were never safe, right?
Mhm.
Because I think Nemesis could come at any time,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So you were never actually safe. So you had to constantly be on the move. I think that added a lot of tension to that game.
Yeah, having Nemesis break through a wall and just
Right.
eat your face. Like, all right.
So I don't play a lot of horror games, but Resident Evil 1 on the PS1 was the probably the one and only horror game that I really played, sort of all the way through.
Yeah.
And there is a scene where you're walking down a hallway and some birds like bust in a window,
Mm-hmm.
and a fucking bird hit my window, like walking down that hall, and I mean I just jumped, lost my shit, and
Yep.
turned off. Like I just turned it off. I was just like, just hit the power on the PS1, and I was like, fuck you.
I was playing Resident Evil 1 upstairs in my bedroom with my best friend Tori, and we had all the lights off. Like, we set the theme, man. We were so excited to play this game, and we played it all in one sitting. And I remember there's a place where you get to some cabins, and as soon as you walk in the first door of the cabin, there's something on the top of the screen just kind of like flickering a little bit. It's just like a little edge of something, and we're like, what the hell is that? And so we walk forward, we walk back, we try to look up, we walk forward, and it's a giant hairy tarantula that falls from the ceiling, and I'm arachnophobic. I remember like hurling out of my chair and my friend just laughing his ass off. I pulled the control. I think I pulled my PlayStation off the table. It fell, hit the floor, and the disc popped out. It was really bad. I thought it broke. It startled the shit out of me. And of course there's a dog jump through the window dog like near the beginning of the game. I think that kind of set the pace of the game. Like that we had talked about in one of our horror podcasts about you got to get that jump in really early so they kind of understand like this is going to be that kind of game. And that dog jumping through the window at the beginning of the first game was kind of like, okay, it's going to have these jump scares and I'm going to be nervous the whole time.
Yeah. I don't play a lot of horror games either. One of the first ones that I really remember playing was Silent Hill 2. I rented it from Hollywood Video, and I was playing through it, and I was like, okay, kind of play, and it's like, all right, there's some babies with some butcher knives. That's a little bit creepy. Not a huge fan. There's some nurses that are like all twitchy and whatnot, kind of hot. All right, let's keep going. And then I got to the part where you're hiding in a closet, and then Pyramid Head comes out and starts humping this dead body over a sink while you're like watching him. And I was like, I think I need to take this game back now. I'm done. I'm good. I don't need to play this anymore. So that was the last time I ever played it. I'm not a huge fan of like horror games because they're just like you're saying, they make you feel kind of weird. And I'm just like, I don't know if I want to be, because like if you're watching a movie and people die, it's like, well, okay, they died, that's their own fault. If I'm playing a horror game and I die, it's like I messed up. I don't want to be responsible for this. But like the last one that I really was kind of upset that it didn't go any further than it did. There was on the PS4 that demo for PT.
Yeah.
That thing was creepy as shit, and it was awesome. And I'm a little bit sad that they took it off the PlayStation Store and they never made it into a full game because that would have.
There is a full game.
Is there? What?
Yeah.
What? Oh,
it's
not
another
out yet.
company took it. They were like, well, if you guys are gonna be stupid and fire Kojima and not do it, we're gonna do it. So it's not Silent Hill, it's not PT, but I swear the two demos look like they're identical games.
Okay.
And it looks like it's really, really good.
Yeah, because that was.
There's actually two of them. I apologize, and I'll post them in the. I'll get them to Kurt for the YouTube video. But there's actually two of them. One of them comes out next month, and apparently there is a 2-chapter pre-release you can get on Steam for it, and it's getting really, really good reviews. Very scary, apparently.
Cool.
So I play. So I mean, BioShock isn't exactly like a horror game, but I was playing the beginning part. It uses themes, right? And so like I was playing just the very beginning. I was really excited about getting to play it, and you go in the building at the very beginning, and you go up the elevator or down the elevator or whatever, and like the doors open and it's like lightning's flashing, and you can kind of see the outline of something creepy in the room. And I'm like standing in the thing, and I'm like, I don't want to keep playing this game. Like, I don't even want to get out of the elevator. Like, it I mean, I did end up playing more of the game, but initially I was just sitting there with the lightning flashing and seeing the like broken body of the whatever that was at the end of the hallway. And I remember going, nope, and just turning off the game and like walking away. And I didn't come back to it for a few weeks before I finally went, okay, all right. I really want to see the rest of this game, but I got to get through whatever's going to happen in that initial couple of minutes so that I can play the rest of this game.
One fun thing that I think the video game version of horror can do, and movies can manage it too, but is to play on sanity as a mechanic, where the character or the characters are going insane, and the medium allows for some really creative uses of that slipping manner of reality. I remember an old GameCube, Eternal Darkness.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh, the
that
moment
is
where
such an amazing game.
Yeah, as the game progresses, weirder and weirder shit start happening until it goes from weirder and weirder shit happening in the game to weirder and weirder stuff happening to you, the player. Yeah. Like your controls stop working properly,
a lot of
or the screen starts
stuff.
So your screen
bugs start crawling on your screen. You're like, is it something on my monitor? Like, and you realize it's the game.
Or the point the game looks like it's reset on you to make you think like, and it's like. That is such an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
It was so creative.
That's really cool. Yeah. That is really creative.
Yeah. Well, that's like, the developers just have fun. It's like the Psycho Mantis fight, Metal Gear Solid. Not a horror game at all. Nope. But then you get to that one dude and he's like reading your memory card. It's like, oh, you play this game. It's like, wait, what? What? Okay. And then he turns off your screen and it pops up in the corner video. And it's like, oh shit, what happened? Where's my screen?
Isn't there a part of that fight where you have to use the second player controller to finish the fight?
Yeah, you have to use the player 2 control. So if you only have one controller, have fun.
That's really cool. Yeah. So do you guys think that in a scary game, like a jump scare, is useful or is even possible in a game?
Oh, very. So. Yeah. Most modern horror games, that is their premium currency. You look at your Five Nights at Freddy, or Emily Wants to Play, or any of those.
Slenderman.
Penumbra.
Yeah, all of those games. Not only is the jump scare like their primary form of interaction with you, but the fear of those jump scares is what actually builds the tension. Knowing at any moment a robot teddy bear is going to jump out and eat your face.
Right.
This is my primary hope for VR technology. And I'm not kidding you. This is what I'm most excited about VR taking off and really getting developed, because I think VR will lend itself so well to this genre specifically.
It does.
Yeah, man.
Emily Wants to Play was ported onto VR, and I so want to play it in VR, but I am deathly afraid, not of playing the game, but of jumping back and breaking my $700 piece of hardware.
Yeah, and that's going to happen one time, and there's going to be one lawsuit, and then companies are going to start shying away from it. Because VR would be amazing if you got like some good headphones with like some 7.1 surround sound, and it's just like, where's it coming from? Where's it coming from? And then you got a jump scare ghost in your face. You fall into your TV. And it's like, oh shit, I'm dead. Like in real life, I'm dying. This game. Yeah. What happened? Ghost popped out.
I'm so immersed. It feels like I'm bleeding from my head. Yeah. What's going on? Oh, I'm actually bleeding from my head right now.
Apparently, Resident Evil 7. Every person I've talked to says it's one of the, if not best, so far VR horror-ish experiences.
Yeah, and you're the asshole who bought it for me for my birthday, so I've got to play that.
Yeah.
As soon as I get my VR setup back up and running.
Yeah, play it on stream. We want to watch it.
We'll have one cam facing him, seeing him get like freaked out, and then we'll have one in game.
Hey, the cam right now is facing your living room. We know you can do it.
Perfect. And then we'll have someone come and deliver something to you while you're playing it
We
and
just need to
really
get
abduct you.
Yeah, we'll just need to get a capture card to hook up to your Vive or
Yeah.
PlayStation, whatever the hell it is you're playing on.
It's definitely doable. People are doing it. I know
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
stream it.
So, what do you guys think can ruin the spooky vibe of a scary game? Like, what takes a game that had the potential to be really great horror, and then it's just like, oh, this was mediocre at best.
I'm gonna tie this to the movie we're gonna watch today. I think it's important to have moderation. You have to let tension build. You have to be unpredictable. If you don't understand moderation and you're just constantly barraging people with scary things, you're not allowing them to rest and start to kind of feel safe again. It doesn't work, and you're just laying it on, and you become dull to it. So I think you have to be really careful not to go over the top. You have to use moderation with your scares, with your jump scares, and also change it up. Atmospheric horror versus the jump scare horror versus the gore. You know, you've got to kind of change it up and have breaks in between.
Right.
Empowerment is such a huge problem too. I remember Silent Hill 4 was a super creepy game.
Was that the Room one?
That was the Room. I love that game.
That's good.
But the big problem was about 3/4 of the way through the game, you could get the combat axe, and it was broken powerful. Like there was a combo you could do with it that killed almost any enemy without any fear of reprisal. And the game stopped being scary.
Right. Yeah, being too powerful. And I think at the same time, like you guys said, playing a game where things aren't supposed to work the way they're supposed to, like trying to drive the tank or whatever, but if the game 100%, like you can't even make a little bit of an inch to feel like you there's some hope, then you end up giving up and just not playing that game, right? Because you get frustrated that you can't move forward instead of being scared that you're not going to succeed. So yeah, definitely I think empowerment, like there's that balance, like giving too much power but also taking all of your power away. There has to be like a little bit of hope there at the same time. So
I think for me personally, just because I'm like, so it just feels so cheap to me, is the jump scare. And I get that it's the easiest way for the media to interact with the user, but for me they're just so cheap, and it's such an easy thing to do, is just loud noise, spooky picture, came from out of nowhere, and it's like, oh, to me that's not necessarily scary as much as it is just surprising.
yeah.
So for me, jump scares, they're just so cheap and it's so easy, and
Well,
I'm much more invested. Like if you make me invested in the character and the environment, you could just put some spooky music. You don't even need to show a monster or a killer or anything. Just make it gloomy, make it spooky, make me care about the character that I'm playing or the character I'm watching if it's a movie. And to me that's enough to just, because it's like whatever you're imagining is going to be so much worse than what anybody can actually present. So for me it's like you don't necessarily even need to show a monster. It's just like make it creepy, and it's like, okay, what's going on? And then I start feeling the tension, I start feeling scared. But if you're going to just start throwing loud noise, spooky picture, it's like, oh, that's what they're going to do. Okay, I don't really care then, because it can come from anywhere. You don't need to set it up, you don't need to be invested. It's just like, oh look, there's a ice cream truck. Well, I'm gonna go in there and get an ice cream. Spooky ghost. Oh, okay.
There's a right way and a wrong way to handle that. I think smart people who understand horror and understand tension won't do if you're doing jump scares, it should be maybe once or twice, maybe 3 times in the whole game. However, there are subtle ways of kind of leaning on it a little bit. Like, for instance, if you have an audience that's expecting a jump scare, don't give them a jump scare, but give them something else. Like, I remember there was a game I was playing where there had a jump scare early in the game, and then like an hour later in the game, you're in a pantry, and a mouse skitters across like a cabinet next to you and knocks like some pepper off the counter. It wasn't a jump scare, but it kind of like touched on the jump scare. You're like, oh, okay, it's fine. It's just that. It adds the tension. It kind of like gets you on your feet, your toes again for a while. I think that's a good way of handling it. But I, as far as like the jump scare being the main theme, no, it is easy and it is cheap. I think it's important to have a little bit, but it should, like I said, it should be moderated.
Yeah. Well, and we know from real life that a mouse running in can be terrifying as a
Yeah.
good jump
Yeah.
scare.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, cool.
Confirmed.
Does anybody have any final thoughts on scary, spooky video games before we kind of close things up here for today?
Nope.
Meh.
All right. Okay,
Well,
cool.
the thing I would add at the end is that a lot of these themes, disempowerment, putting in an uncomfortable situation, can literally be added to most games,
Yeah.
and suddenly turn a game that is completely counter to it and actually make it kind of spooky.
Right.
I remember playing through a quest, a recent quest in Warframe of all thing, a game about space ninjas, where you are literally flying through rooms, mowing down people with a hail of bullets. But there was a handful of missions where they take away your gun or make you not able to actually fight back. You're wandering through dark areas and there's spooky voices talking to you. That was genuinely kind of spooky.
Yeah.
I'm
I think that's important that even in a game that's not intentionally spooky can decide to take that turn for a level or an area or whatever. And sometimes it's nice not to play an entirely spooky game, but have it peppered into the game you didn't expect it to be in there.
Yeah.
And this is completely unrelated, but I'm just gonna throw out there that I still maintain that Warframe is the spiritual successor to Mario Kart. It's literally just a race finish line where you're occasionally shooting at obstacles.
Well, awesome. Well, Kurt, do you want to tell people one more time where they can find us?
Sure, I can do that. So if you would like to learn more about the show, you can do so by going to pixelscandal.com. If you'd like to email the show, you can email us pixelscandal@gmail.com. We'll read your email and talk about stuff on the show if you have questions. If you'd like to connect with us on social media, you can do so by looking up at Pixel Scandal on Twitter, Instagram, anywhere social medias are sold. You can find this as an audio format on iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play, and any podcatcher of your choice. And we have YouTube as well. You can find links to that by going to pixelscandal.com. And if you'd like to support the show, you can do so by subscribing to our Twitch channel here at twitch.tv/pixelscandal, or by, giving us bits in the chat, or, just tell us how great we are.
Which we would like to remind everyone that the 22nd, 23rd is a month from when we became affiliated. So if you did subscribe using your Amazon Prime account to our stream, it's been almost a month and it's going to be time to do that again. So keep that in mind, that you can use your Amazon Prime account for a free Twitch sub and you should give it to us.
Sure. Yeah, we'd love to have it. Yeah, that's how you can find us if you need to.
Cool. Well, thanks for watching today. I was going to say tonight, but it's morning. So hope we helped wake you up this morning. Go have some coffee.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Have a good day.
I love you.
I don't.